CEBRadio, DZEM 954, ang tinig ng katotohanan, himpilan ng Iglesia ni Cristo, sumasahimpapawid mula sa Quezon City.
Let's open our devices and listen now. Let's have some fun and this is how. As we have our INC radio podcast playing, we will have so much fun listening. INC Radio Podcast, we're here to hear.
Hello to all of our podcast family from all across the world, and welcome to the third episode of our newest season of INC Radio Podcast, The Balance Blueprint Part 1. You're tuning in to INC Radio Podcast, the podcast that resonates with you. I'm your host. This is Kuya Jacob.
And this episode is a continuation of our season, The Balance Blueprint Part 1. Just like what Kuya Jacob said, our season is actually going to focus on topics that involve balancing your personal, social, and academic life, because balance is a practice that is essential to develop, especially at a young age.
That's true. Last week, we talked about the social grade balance, which was about balancing our social life with our academic life. But living in such an interconnected world, diba, Ate Angelica, it means that this social life that we have is, extended to not just in-person interactions, but also even interactions online. Napaka-dynamic talaga. Diba?
Said our topic for today's episode is none other than digital detox, where we're going to be talking about the different ways to limit our screen time so that way we could maintain a healthy life balance, especially as students. But of course, we want our podcast family to join in on the conversation too. So let's segue to our podcast episode question for today. As always, for all of our live viewers, please feel free to leave your answer in the live chat. And for those who will be viewing our lovely episode after it is aired, please feel free to share with us your response to our question at podcast@incradio.net. So our podcast episode question is none other than, what are some ways that you limit your screen time?
Yes, we always hear these questions. At Angelica, and we would love to hear the answers of our podcast family. But before we head off to our main discussion, we'd like to give our special thanks, of course, to our beloved Ka Angela Eranio V. Manalo, our CEBSI President and CEO. First of all, we would like to take this opportunity to thank our dearest Executive Minister, Ka Eduardo V. Manalo. Mahal na mahal po namin kayo. Thank you so much for all you do. Thank you so much for the love that you always give to each and one of us. Now, proceeding. Let's dive into. Let's start now with this discussion, Ate Angelica. What is digital detox? Yan ang ating question. Although we hear it a lot, while some of us might not still understand the meaning of digital detox. As a student, why is it important? Diba? For you, Ate Angelica, what is your definition of digital detox?
I think when we think of, especially as students, how we use our digital devices, sometimes we can't avoid it because we are so dependent on using these digital devices. And so, especially when it comes to things like taking notes or when it comes to completing our assignments. So for me, the way that I view a digital detox is it's a period of time where a person would intentionally disconnect from digital devices. And this could mean either through smartphones, computers, and also social media, because especially as students, sometimes we're not just using one device. Sometimes we're using multiple devices. Maybe we are using our phones, but we're using other devices to take notes as well, as needed. And so that's something to take note of as well. And I think as a student, it's really important because we're constantly using these digital devices, and sometimes when we have so much access to maybe even when we're using multiple devices, sometimes we can be distracted or we lose the correct intention of actually using these devices. Let's just say if we're using it to study, maybe because this provides us with access to other online websites, we might have decreased productivity. And so it's really important for us as students to use digital detoxes as a way to recharge and also to better focus on our studies as well.
That's right.
How
So
about you, Kuya Jacob?
it really is safe to say, ano, na digital detox, it doesn't just necessarily mean you stay away from any gadgets or any devices, right? It's also a way na, you avoid certain things inside those gadgets, diba, Ate Angelica? I think we've talked about this earlier when we were hovering out this topic na, for example, sa morning pa lang, gumagamit ka naman na talaga ng phone. Or when we are studying, talaga gumagamit ka talaga ng phone or tablet or your computer. Pero that wouldn't be considered as you're not practicing digital detox in times when you need it. Kasi for example, meron lang talagang certain social media platform that you want to avoid. I think you've already mentioned this. Diba? There's just one social media platform that you want to not look at kasi this would, give you negative feelings or kaya it would turn out, negativity in you. So for me, that's what basically what digital detox mean. Yung talagang avoiding certain contents. Diba? Not just online, even face to face that we would consider as digital. Diba? For example, an online book or an online article or anything that could be considered as digital. Hindi lang siya pang social media talaga eh. Avoiding it would be really beneficial because as people we want to focus on things that we want to do, and as students as well, we have so many tasks. Ang dami nating responsibilities. We have responsibilities in our school. We have responsibilities at home, and kapag shattered yung mind natin because we're bothered by so much stuff in the digital world, then we want to be able to focus in those tasks, especially pagdating sa pag-aaral, no, Ate Angelica? Yeah.
Now, going along with the benefits, right? We're talking about how this is really beneficial for us as students because having these digital detox is really important when it comes to focusing. But Kuya Jacob, what do you think are some signs that you might need a digital detox? Maybe you're too distracted by what you see online. What are some signs that you think students should pay attention to?
Kapag tinatamad na akong gumawa, alam mo yun, parang like wala nang motivation. We always hear motivation, but it really is true na it really is a big step for us to do stuff, to do work, especially as students. No? Kasi yung ginagawa nating work, either that could be an essay, that could be a problem solving, or that could just be case digest that you want to read. No, kapag wala ako ng will to do it, or I'm too distracted, like what you said, or I'm just so out of focus. I think the number one reason for that is that I'm too chronically online. Too not chronically. So, parang sobra na. No, yun yung feeling. Kapag ganun yung nararamdaman ko na, ay, hindi na siya nagiging productive. I think sobra na akong online. Ang dami ko na yatang nababasa online na nawawala yung motivation ko. I really hate that feeling kasi I hate the feeling of an unproductive day.
Right. Because you feel like you wasted your day if the day is
and you cannot really bawi. There's no such thing as bawi.
right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How about you?
I think for me, to add on to that, I definitely agree with that. Especially when you look back and you see how much time you spent just scrolling through social media, then you feel very unproductive. I think another key indicator is when you lose interest in doing other things that doesn't involve screens. Like if you don't want to do anything else but be on your phone.
Yes.
Or be on your laptop. I think that's another thing. And I think for me, a really big one is if I have trouble sleeping.
Oh, yeah. Oo, yun talaga
Because
yan.
then it's too much screen usage.
I
Now
think
that's my indicator if I'm struggling to sleep or if I'm so awake and
Mm-hmm.
it's late at night and I just use my phone. then that's my indicator
Sign na
that
yun
I
talaga,
need
no?
a
Malaking
digital
sign.
detox.
Oh, but that's so true. Hindi lang naman kasi we're not just, practicing digital detox just because we want to study well, but it really is one main reason is that we want to have a healthy life, diba? Practice a healthy
Right.
lifestyle. And I believe that was yesterday. Oh, yesterday we were talking to a doctor about sleeping hygiene, sleeping essentials, or just the lifestyle of how to get a healthy lifestyle through sleeping. And sabi nga niya yung phones daw, number one daw talaga siya sa nakakahinder. Kaya hirap makatulog yung isang tao kasi apparently our brains, once it detects light, it will indicate in our circadian rhythm or in our whole body or system that it's still daytime and that it's not yet sleeping time. So, hindi kanya patutulugin.
Patutulugin, yeah.
Tutulugin. Diba? Para gising ka lang talaga. And I've experienced that a lot. Especially during the pandemic, Ate Angelica, and nung nandun pa kami sa Malaysia. Kasi di ba, wala masyadong ginagawa outside. Di ba? Like,
Right.
we're sitting there, laptop, phone, whatever. So, number one, there's no physical work. There's no physical tiredness for us to sleep. Number two, yung phone is laging nakatutok sa atin kahit madaling araw na. So, walang parang indicator talaga na dapat nang magpahinga and matulog. And it really is detrimental for the health. Diba? Have you experienced,
Right.
diba, mga sakit-sakit dahil doon?
I think for me the biggest one was losing out on sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Now just moving on to our next question, Kuya Jacob, right? We're talking about how if it's too much screen time, it can even affect our health. So
Yeah.
it's important to know how to get started on a digital detox. So for you, what are some ways that you think you have been able to start a digital detox, and also what are some ways that you've been able to maintain it?
Every morning. Every morning talaga siya, Ate Angelica. I make it to a point that the moment I wake up, I want to avoid my phone. So,
Mm-hmm.
kaya ang ginagawa ko ay, before I go to bed, I set my alarm and then I place my phone away from me. It's either dun siya sa may table sa may harap or basta hindi siya it's beyond reach. Parang ganun.
Right.
So
So that you don't just grab it right away
yeah, I
when you
just
wake
don't
up.
just grab it and snooze tas tulog, or I grab it tapos magdiretso open and scroll instead of waking up, do my routine and get ready to leave. Parang ganun. And I try as much as possible. Yun na nga na kapag nagising ako, dapat 30 minutes lang out na ako ng nakalabas na ako ng tirahan ko. Parang ganun. It's always a challenge. Pero I think that's one way of digital detox kasi, di ba, yun yung napapansin natin when, especially during lockdowns, during yung mga panahon na, we're just at home. The moment we wake up, sabi natin, okay, titingnan ko lang yung phone ko for like, I don't know, 10 seconds. Tapos magugulat na lang tayo, ay, isang oras na pala nakalipas. Lunchtime na pala, I'm still on bed. No, ganun. And then it turns out into an unproductive day talaga.
I think I definitely agree with that, starting your day.
Mhm.
One of the things I wanted to add to that is maybe not even using your phone as your alarm clock, like
Oh,
having an actual alarm
alarm
clock.
clock. Yeah.
Yes. I haven't experimented with that yet, but I know some people have, or it's that bracelet that you wear that vibrates to wake you up
What?
in place of an alarm clock. So those are some things that
Wait,
maybe our audience could potentially try. I
I
think
need to
I'm like
search
the
this up.
biggest I think I am like the worst at this when it comes to starting my day, because I have the tendency to scroll through my phone in the morning, and also to check my emails and messages and all of that stuff in
Mm-hmm,
the
mm-hmm.
morning. So this is definitely one of the things that I do want to try myself. Another way that I think um, we could start a digital detox is making sure that we stay away from our phones during our meals, especially when we're with
Yes.
people. That's one of the things that I think is so important, or staying away from it especially when it comes to having conversations with other people. So that way we can really practice being mindful of what we're eating. Because sometimes when we're on our phones and
Mm.
we're just eating, we don't pay attention to how much we're eating.
Yeah, exactly.
Or maybe when we're on our phones and other people are talking to us, we're distracted. We're not able to give our full attention to the people that we are conversing with. So those are really important.
Mhm.
And like what we said earlier, I think reducing your screen time when it comes to right before sleeping. Maybe don't use your phone right before bedtime. Those are some boundaries that I think is important to set,
Mhm.
so that we can get started on our digital detox, and then eventually build up on it by really sticking to a schedule, so that
Yeah,
way you can gradually decrease your digital detox time
I believe in
or
ano.
increase your
Yeah,
detox time.
I think we had this conversation years ago, like around 2 years ago, where
Mm.
we ano parang we compared our screen times.
Yes, we did.
We
We
did. I
did.
was like, sabi
Yeah,
ko,
I think yours was
looking.
like the worst one,
Yeah, I,
Jason.
I had the worst one. I was like, I had 20 hours. so, so,
Yes,
that's,
I
hindi
think mine
parang
was
ano, kayo
11 hours.
muna. Kayo muna yung nagpakita. And you guys were like, oh, I have 7 hours. And then at the LG was
Mm.
like, oh no, wow, you have 7 hours? I have 10. I was like, what do you guys mean? I have 20. I have 20
Yeah,
hours
we
of
did
screen time.
compare ours.
Really did
But
show. Uh-huh.
you were studying online during that
Oh, yeah.
time.
Yeah. During that time, you
So that
guys were already out.
might have added to it.
Yeah, you guys were already out
Yeah.
on school.
I think we were kind of like hybrid sort of type
Uh-huh.
of situation. So it was like on and off the phone, but
Yeah.
we
Still.
did have really high screen times,
Uh-uh.
especially during the pandemic,
I'm very proud now that I decreased mine. It only meant that I had more time in the outside world rather than in my phone. That's
which is good.
something which is really good. It really feels great. I feel
Yeah.
proud moment yun for me. Like I'm living now. I'm
You're
living.
more focused
I'm
now.
more focused
You're in
now.
living in the
I'm
present
living
now.
in the moment.
Yeah, which is a
It
good thing.
really is. Maintenance is really hard though. At the Angelica, no, it really
Yes,
is.
it
And everything
definitely
naman.
is.
And everything naman, di ba? Working out, and eating healthy, living healthy, being kind. Being kind. maintenance is really a challenge, but it's up to us. It's a
Mhm.
choice. It is a choice. Diba?
Yes.
Well, pag-usapan mong students naman at the Angelica, based on your experience, what are some ways that, us students can balance staying connected online while simultaneing their studies and being, and taking care of ourselves. Let's include us.
I think, like what we talked about earlier, when we're using our digital devices, this
Mhm.
provides us with access to a lot of different digital platforms,
Mhm.
whether it's social media or maybe it's things for leisure like gaming websites, or maybe it's actually something for educational purposes.
Yeah.
So I think one of the biggest things to take note of for students when we're talking about balancing is to use technology purposefully and mindfully. So
Mhm.
paying attention to what you're actually using your digital device for. You want to make sure that when you are, when you're in your student mode, when it's time to be studious, you're using your digital device for educational purposes
Uh-huh.
or for going to class, taking notes, whatever the case is, and really paying attention to how much time you're spending on social media, like what we talked about earlier before we were comparing how much time we spent on certain apps.
Mhm.
It's important to limit mindlessly scrolling on social media. And I think another thing is to really make sure that you block out time in your schedule to
Yeah.
taking care of yourself,
Yeah.
taking time in your schedule to limit your screen time and also make time for other things such as your hobbies or exercising or maybe
Mhm.
spending time with your loved ones, because I think this is all really important, especially for our mental health as students.
Yeah, it really is all about discipline and having the right choice. Ate Angelica, ano. Kasi
Mhm.
there are a lot of moments na we can't stay. Na talagang mas masarap piliin na mag-cellphone na lang, no? Parang like, ang sarap
Right.
mag-cellphone na lang and like bed rot and just, let life flow with me just laying around. It really is it's some sort of a fantasy, ano? Pero we live
Mhm.
in a world where we need to work, we need to learn, we
Right.
need to hustle, and if your source of living, o kaya if you're working and not just through your phone, or tayo mga estudyante kung hindi naman tayo online students, and parang yung digital world lang yung pang hahawakin natin to learn, and then we really should choose to to stay away for a moment, na have discipline, na wag naman buong araw. Oo, utang na loob naman.
Mhm. I think one of the mentalities that I actually have when it comes to really balancing studies and let's just say phone time is that you're only a student once in your life. You're
Yeah.
not going to school your whole entire life. This is just your period of time that you're studying. So you want to take full advantage of this
Mhm.
opportunity. You want to pour in your time and your efforts and your studies to make sure that you get the most out of your education.
Yeah.
And if you're spending so much time on your phone, then you're not really making use of your time. And it might be something that you look back to and you might regret it if you spent so much time on your phone rather than doing things for school or rather than spending time with your classmates or with your other peers or
Mhm.
reaching out to your professors and building connections. There's so much that we could be doing that is beneficial to our growth as students outside of using our phones, which is
That's
why
right.
it's really important to limit our screen time, especially as students.
Yeah, especially from your experience, you're almost done with school. You're
Yes, I'm in my second to last
you're
semester,
second to last semester.
so it's definitely hitting me.
It really is a huge step at the Angelica. And I love what you said. Na we should seize this opportunity, this moment, especially for
Right.
us. Na our parents, they generously provide everything just for us to finish, school, studying,
Oh, yeah.
sending us to places that are far away from them, just for us to have a brighter future. And yun na lang yung sabi nga natin, maisusukli natin sa kanilang kabutihan, ano. Not because
Mhm.
we own them a debt, no. It's because we love them. It's because that's how we show
Right.
love through studying well, diba? And if too much digital, consumption, or too much social media is depriving us from doing so and studying well, then I think it's about time that we really set the limits for using it at the
Mhm.
Angelica.
And I think that there are also other benefits as well
Yeah.
when it comes to taking regular breaks from our digital devices. So maybe outside of, you know, um, greater focus on our studies, what do you think are some other benefits, Kuya Jaycon, when it
So
comes to digital detox?
it makes me want to be with people more. Kasi
Mm.
isa sa pinaka-struggle ko back then when I was just like, my life was purely online.
Online? Yeah. I remember that.
Right? My life was purely online. There were moments that I really feel sad. No, na lagi kong
Mhm.
kinukwento sa inyo na there are moments na I was almost, at the verge of depression, because I was really sad, because lahat ng mga tao na nakikita ko, they're living their best life. Diba? They're
Mhm.
living the fullest. They glamorize their life so much on social media or in any
Mhm.
platforms, and that it makes me want to have their life as well. And you know, something na hindi ko lang siguro nakita before is that I have that too. I have that life as well. I'm just too focused on looking at other people's life online that I forgot that I have that in front of me as well. I was with my family. I was not away from them during that time. I was with them.
Mhm.
We go out a lot as well. It's just a different world. Siguro yung sa nakikita ko, they go to different countries, or like they have fun with their friends. Mine was, I was with my family. We were doing family stuff. We climb up to
Mhm.
mountains. Diba? We go to different bundok. We go to a camp in the middle of nowhere because of of the life that we're currently at, our life situation. It is
Mhm.
not something that I should be sad about. It's actually looking back, parang ang saya rin naman ng mga moments na yun eh. Na, hindi naman siya sayang, hindi rin naman siya, it's not something to be sad about. And I should have been grateful for that. So I think yun yung mga benefits nun. Makes you want to live more if you just unfocus
Mhm.
from certain things and for like practicing digital detox. Siguro mas nag-enjoy ako back then.
Right. And I definitely agree with that because when we are spending less time on our phones, naturally we have more time for other things, for
Yeah.
better things, and
Hmm.
for gaining more experiences in life. And so I definitely agree that taking breaks from our digital devices, it helps our relationships.
Yeah.
It helps us to better connect with those around us, and it gives us more time to really be fully engaged with the people around us. And I definitely think that, of course, you're better connected when you are interacting with people in person rather than online. It's completely different when you're meeting
It
someone
is so
and spending
much.
time with them in person rather than just on the phone and online. But just to add to that, I think taking regular breaks from our digital devices, it helps us to feel less overwhelmed because I think that when we're constantly looking at all of the notifications on our phones or focusing on whatever is happening online, it can stress us out sometimes or make us feel anxious. And so when you
Definitely.
step
Yeah.
away from that, you definitely feel less stress and you feel less anxious.
Yeah.
And just like what we talked about, better sleep then.
Yeah. Better health. Better health, better
Yes,
sleep,
better health,
better
better
everything.
sleep. Yes,
Kaya
definitely.
naman. And of course, it is really also, beneficial for our faith as well. Ate
Mhm,
Angelica, digital detox kasi it makes us focus more on being appreciative dun sa mga blessings na binibigay sa atin ng ating Panginoong Diyos, Na,
mhm,
I have so much in my life and I really want to appreciate them. I want to be grateful for them, and especially in studying. Diba, ate?
mhm,
Kasi, for example, ako ngayon, I am studying a really hard program. My college degree that I'm pursuing is, I see it as so stressful and
mhm.
it's really challenging. And ang sarap na just focusing on studying and nananalangin ng marami sa ating Panginoong Diyos. I can see na He's always helping me in that way. And kapag
Mhm.
focus ako dun sa ginagawa ko, then I believe na I can succeed in this endeavor that I'm pursuing rather than, parang
Mhm.
chronically online na wala namang kinalaman sa kung anong dapat kong inuuna, 'di ba? Or just
Yes.
playing games online. Kaya nga nag-delete na ako ng online games na yan.
Wala ka
Medyo
ng games.
give up ko na. Siguro babalikan
Fully
ko sa
focused ka
summer.
na.
Balikan natin sa break. Ganon.
When you have breaks, syempre, that's
Yeah.
okay then, as long as
Yeah.
it's, in moderation. And
Yeah.
I think just to add on to that, when we are spending less time online, we have more time to focus on really developing our relationship with God and
Mhm.
really focusing also on our spiritual life. And so that leads us to our Christian value takeaway.
That's right.
As Christians, reducing our screen time is essential to prevent ourselves from being distracted by what we view online. Being disciplined in what we spend our time doing is essential to remaining focused on our day to day responsibilities. And most importantly, it is essential to remaining focused on the things that please our Almighty God.
That is so true because in a world filled with constant digital noise, it is really easy to lose sight of what truly matters. Taking time to disconnect from our screens allows us to refocus our hearts and minds on taking care of our spiritual life and our relationship with God. Let us remember as well to be careful what we see or view and read online when we are in our screens. There are many social media platforms of the Church of Christ that produce content for us to view. When we prioritize Christian content, we give priority to content that benefits our faith. And ultimately, by practicing self control in our use of technology, we give glory to God by ensuring that nothing, not even digital distractions, takes precedence over our relationship with Him. Diba, Ate Angelica?
Yes, and as we wrap up today's episode, we'd like to give our thanks to you, our lovely viewers. Thank you for joining us in this episode today, and we hope to see you in our next episode so that we can all keep growing in faith, one INCRadio podcast episode at a time. And as always, we would love to hear from all of you, so please reach out to us for any comments, questions, or suggestions via email at podcast@incradio.net. Because here on INCRadio Podcast,
We're here to hear. Well, everyone, thank you, Angelica. See you next week.
Thank you, Jason.
Bye-bye, thank you, Tex.
Let's have some fun, and this is how. As we have our INC radio podcast playing, we will have so much fun. Listen, INC Radio Podcast, we're here to hear.
Let's game on, go out! Chada Northmin. Isa sa mga kinahihiligang activity tuwing tag-araw ay ang swimming. Ngayong Sabado, samahan kami at pasyalan natin ang kilalang swimming pool sa Cagayan de Oro, ang Cagayan Resort. Gusto niyo bang subukan lutuin ang kinamatisang manok? Subaybayan ang aming Eats Chada segment. Malalaman din natin ang mga isinagawang mga aktibidad na